Hello, welcome to Đông Nai Radio and Television Station. Here comes news today. The draft strategic orientation for socio-economic development for the period 2021-2030 has set an average GDP growth target of 7% per year, of which 30% of industrial value is expected to be in GDP. To achieve the above objectives while building an autonomous economy based on mastery of technology and active integration as drafted, according to economists, in the industrial sector, it is necessary to step up the restructuring of industrial parks and develop domestic supporting industrial zones so as not to depend too much on FDI enterprises. Only then will we enjoy the tax exemption and reduction from the signed and effective trade agreements. At the same time, it is necessary to develop a separate program on improving labor productivity, seized as one of the most fundamental breakthrough measures to increase the competitiveness of the economy. According to information from the Ministry of Planning and Investment, as of October 2020, Korea had about 8,900 valid projects with a total registered investment capital of about $70.4 billion USD, ranking first in terms of total capital, investment registration, and total number of investment projects in Vietnam. Korean enterprises continue to be an important component of the Vietnamese economy, contributing about 30% of Vietnam's total export value in the first 9 months of 2020. On the occasion of the 38th anniversary of Vietnamese Teachers' Day, November the 20th, many meaningful activities of the education sector have just taken place in Đông Nai province. Representative of the Đông Nai Department of Education and Training had just sent documents congratulating, visiting, and encouraging teachers of the provinces Hà Tĩnh, Quảng Bình, Quảng Trị, Thừa Thiên Huế, Quảng Nam, Quảng Ngãi, Bình Định, Nghệ An, and Da Nang. At the same time, in order to continue sharing difficulties with units damaged by the floods, Đông Nai Department of Education and Training continues to transfer funding phase 2 to the education and training sector, these provinces and cities. So far, Đông Nai Department of Education and Training has transferred 1.6 billion VND and 1,000 textbooks to support students in the central of the provinces affected by natural disasters. This amount is deducted from the funding source donated and supported by the whole province students. The department will continue to receive funding until the end of November 2020, and the proceeds will be sent to the Provincial Fatherlands Fronts Committee of the province to support the people in central Vietnam. In the latest move by President Donald Trump's administration to put pressure on Tehran, on November the 18th, the United States decided to impose new sanctions on Iranian officials and a less sponsorship involving the Supreme Iran leader. In the statement, the U.S. Treasury Department pointed out that the sanctioned subjects include the Islamic Revolution Fund, Mostaza Fund, and its 50 related organizations in the energy, mining, and financial services industries. The U.S. believes that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, uses the Mostaza Fund Foundation to reward allies under a charitable label. On the list of sanctions imposed by the U.S. are Mahmoud Alavi, the head of Iran's Department of Intelligence and Security, and 2 officials from Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard. The sanctions freeze all property and interests of individuals and entities in the U.S. and prohibit Americans from dealing with and doing business with the sanctioned Iranian entity. That's all for the news today. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.